Welcome to this week's video, and this week I'm going to swap over my stick drift and potentiometers in my PS5 controller for these Hall effect ones. So as you can see, the PlayStation controller is in pretty good condition. I recently picked it up for about £25. When we plug it in, you can see on the left controller more, when you twist it round, there's a bit of a jiggle at the bottom, so it's not perfect, so it is a ideal candidate to swap over. The right side, not so bad, but if we're doing one, we might as well do both of them. Then we just click onto this one to show the average issue on it, and it scrolls round. So I've seen worse, but obviously I've seen a lot better too. So these are Hall effect controllers that I bought from AliExpress. So what I'll do is I'll just pop off one of the side potentiometers for you, and then you'll be able to see the difference. So over one, it has a sort of circle on there that it wears round, and on this side it's got I think it's magnets at the bottom. It's supposed to be a lot better. So all we need to do is we need to open it all up. So first off, we'll get our lipper out, and then we'll move the L and R buttons on the top. And then we just need to unclip this black fascia. So we just need to pull it off and pull it off, and then just lift over the sticks. Then we've got 4 screws, 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom that need to come out. And get the lipper again, release these catches, and then we just again have to pull it apart and separate it. If it's not been opened before, it can be a little bit tough. You might have to give it a bit of a yank to separate it. So you just try and do it not too over forceful, but you do have to put a bit of weight behind it. Then it'll separate, then we can move the back. First thing we'll do is disconnect the battery, as not to cause any potential shorts. It just wiggles out. And we've got the first screw here. Just disconnect this ribbon cable, and then this bar comes out, and then we just need to disconnect all the remaining ribbon cables. So we've got 2 on the side, and then we've got this blue one at the back, which again just slides out nice and easy. And there's 2 catches either side which release the motherboard. So then once you click them, the motherboard will pop out. So we are going to need to get the board out. So we just get our soldering iron and then just take these 2 connections off. If you need to take a photo to remember where they go back in the orientation, positive and negative. So we just take them out, and then we can remove the motherboard. That's what we're going to be working on. Take off the top sticks, they just pull off. And then all this circle here, this whole thing needs to come out. So all these parts that are soldered on all need to be unsoldered. So I'm just covering everything plastic in Kapton tape because a lot of heat will be going into the board and we don't want anything melting. So everything possible, just cover it all up and make it nice and easy. Not going to cause any more issues. I'm going to show you 2 different ways of refitting the whole sticks once I've done it. But first off, I'm going to apply a little bit of flux to the back. And then we get our hot air station. So first I was trying to heat the whole thing and remove the whole thing, and then I realised it's going to be pretty much impossible. So I then went back to plan B, where we're going to release the potentiometers on the side. So you just clip them to either side, and then you just need to apply a little bit of heat to them 3 pins, and then they come out pretty easy. Just wiggle them out. You don't want to be pulling too hard because you don't want to be pulling any of the tabs off, and then you do the same on the other one. So we'll just pull it out. And then once this is out, you can work on the remaining round pins. So you just work it round, keep applying heat, keep it moving, using your tweezers to wiggle it behind, and then eventually it's going to come away. So the first way I'm going to show how to read them is just by pushing it straight back in. So I'm not removing any of the old solder, I'm just reheating all the old solder. Because the board's still warm, it doesn't take long, so I'm reheating, moving it around, and then I'm pushing the new Hall effect joystick into it. So push it around, make sure all the pins are in, all at an even level, and then once I'm happy with that, I can remove the heat and then let it cool down. Just to top it all up, just to make sure it's a little bit tidier, I'm now going to add a little bit more solder to each of the pins, just to make sure that they're all nice and solid. Most of them are okay, but it doesn't hurt to add a little bit of fresh solder to the pins that have just been taken out. And then a good clean with isopropyl alcohol, making sure we remove all the old flux. So this is the second one. So that one went on okay. I'm going to show you a different way with this one. So again, I'm just applying flux to the back. I'm just going to remove the potentiometers first. This will make it easier to move the whole of the joystick. So the first one wiggles out, and then just keep applying the heat to the 3 pins, moving it up and down, and then eventually it will wiggle out and we can remove the second potentiometer. And then once that's out, we can move the whole stick. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to apply a little bit of flux, and then I'm going to apply my soldering iron, and then get one of these suckers on the back of it, and I'm going to remove all of the old solder, as you can see. So it takes a bit of time, but it's worthwhile. I think this is the better way to do it. So as you can see, all the holes are nice and clear now. So just give it another clean with isopropyl, give it a good once over. We don't want to keep it dirty. So all the holes are nice and empty, which means we can get the new joystick and then we can just pop it into place. This is a lot easier than the first way that I did, but I wanted to try both versions. So you can make sure it's positioned correctly. You don't have it flush to the board, it stays up a mil or two. But because it sits in nice and tight, there's no worries of it falling out. We just apply a little bit of flux to the back and then we just start soldering. So I'll normally solder the ground pins first, and then I'll go around and then do all the other ones. Then we'll give it another good clean with isopropyl. As I said, we just keep cleaning as we go, and as you can see, it's all okay. So we just put the sticks back on, the covers go on there, push them on nice and firm, and then we'll put the board back into place. Just make sure you don't trap any of the ribbon cables. And then once the board's in and clipped in, reattach all your ribbon cables, as I'm doing, 2 on the side, 1 on the top. Then we can resolder the wires back on. Make sure you do them in the right way, otherwise your rumble's not going to work. Then reconnect the ribbon cable at the bottom. And then I had forgotten to put these little black corner bits in, so I did have to take it apart and put them back in. But these little rubber bits help to stop any of the vibration. Then we pop the battery holder back in, one screw in there, make that connection there. Then we reconnect the battery, and just make sure you tuck the wire underneath the little tab, and then it'll sit into place nice and firm. And then we're almost there. So while it's open, you can give it a quick clean if you need to, clean around the edges if there's any grime. This is in a pretty decent condition, and you just click it all back in, make sure it all sits nice like that. 4 screws go back in nice and easy, and the shoulder buttons, simply get the right side and then just push it back on and it'll clip into place. Do that on both sides. And then a bit of dirt around the edge that I just noticed, so just get a bit of isopropyl and give it a quick clean. You don't want to soak it. And then this fascia piece goes on, so you just get the 2 corner tabs in, line it all up as good as you can, and then it'll clip down into place, and then you just push it around at the top and then round the corners at the edge, and then that's it, done. And as you can see, it all looks nice, it all feels nice. So we just need to plug it into the computer and then give it a little test. So I'll plug it into the joypad tester, check all the buttons, they're all still working, and then I go to test the analog sticks, and as you can see, I scroll round, I get complete squares. So I wasn't sure whether this is right or wrong. Obviously it doesn't look great. So I have this gamepad tester that I've used, which I'll link this in the description. So this helps to calibrate. Sometimes the sticks aren't perfect, so you do need to calibrate them a little bit. So there's a bit of an instruction that you need to follow. You follow this calibration, and then this should make them nice and perfect. But as you can see, I still think it's pushing out to the corners. So I've done a little bit of reading. A lot of the stuff that I've read on Reddit have said because of the Hall effect sticks, that this is how they show up when you do a test. They're not going to get a full circle. I've given the controller to my son. He's played games with it. He said it works fine. But if anyone else wants to add in the comments as if this is fine or if there's another adjustment that needs to be doing, then I can always do a follow-up video. But thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.